There are plenty of well-made, fleshed-out black DC characters to go around, many of which have been established in the public eye through various mediums that are well beloved by DC fans to this day. A lot of y'all probably grew up with John Stewart as Green Lantern thanks to the DCAU, or maybe peeped at the Static Shock cartoon as a kid. But ain't it funny in modern times how these companies are all like, yeah, we really want to push for diversity and inclusion with our stories, but they have like an entire catalog of characters that could fit that description that they don't even bother to use. Now, I'm not saying the higher-ups on Warner Brothers are racist or anything, but I mean, you look at the DCEU and the whole Justice League fiasco. Many things got cut when Joss Whedon came on board with extensive reshoots. Cyborg's entire character arc got cut, along with scenes with his father Silas Stone. So did any scenes with Iris West, any scenes with the Martian Manhunter actor. WB wouldn't even let Zack Snyder use John Stewart Green Lantern as a cameo.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
Okay, but in all seriousness, there definitely is a problem in the lack of pushing these characters to the general public, to the point where average folk can't even name characters off the top of their head who don't meet a certain criteria. Y'all ever see those videos where people are asked to name like 5 or so black superheroes who don't have lightning-based abilities?
Can you name 5 black comic book characters that don't have lightning powers? Oh! I was about to say Storm. Oh, I was about to say Static Shock. No, he has the electrics. Can you name 5 black characters in fiction that don't have lightning abilities? He has lightning. We got fiction in general. I don't know why this is so hard on camera.
The popular question to ask is if DC even acknowledges characters who aren't Batman, but the question we really need to be asking is,
I just wanna know where my niggas at.
I'd imagine a select few of internet folk out there would complain about my content being quote-unquote too negative. Bro, you're always hating on DC, stop complaining all the time.
I don't give a fuck, man. I'm sick of you always thinking you know what's best for me, dog.
I always find it hysterical when internet niggas moan about the style of content of a person they themselves choose to watch. Not sure how pointing out characters that are neglected or mistreated by a company is considered hating on said character, but okay. You know, I've always hated Superman, you know what I'm saying? It's not like these videos are literally in defense of said character being the topic of discussion. And if it bothers you that much, unsub, dislike, click the don't recommend channel option on your homepage, whatever makes you feel comfortable. It'd be one thing if 95% of my content is just me going, oh my god, dude, like, these modern superhero movies have gone woke, dude. Like, anytime I watch a movie, there's just too many black people on my screen. And if you still perceive me as being too negative instead of a guy just keeping it real,
I don't give a shit. He's fine.
You know we got some problems when you got folk out here thinking Black Lightning and Static are the same character, or some people not even recognizing Static as associated with DC.
Wait. Why the fuck was Superman there? Is Static Shock part of DC?
I remember a long time ago, it was announced they were working on a Static Shock movie produced by Michael B. Jordan, but in typical WB DCEU fashion, the project went absolutely nowhere with no significant updates announced since. I don't think they've ever even officially canceled it. There has just been no info on it.
The script that Randy McKinnon is writing for the live-action feature film version of Static is, you know, he's hard at work right now. We're going to be getting that soon. So live-action Static Shock is a real thing. That's in the works. You know, Warner Brothers is excited about it. We're excited about it.
Michael B. Jordan's excited about it.
Michael B. Jordan's producing the movie with us.
So that was a fucking lie.
Whenever a DC animated movie is announced, it's always set to release within the same year or the following year of its initial announcement. I don't recall many, or if at all any, DC animated films where the film didn't release not too long after it was revealed. Well, that is if I don't count the announcement of the Milestone animated movie. Right after they had reconfirmed the existence of a live-action Static movie, they announced for the first time at DC Fandom 2021 they were gonna make an animated Milestone movie featuring the heavy hitters of the Milestone universe, which included Static.
Here's the new announcement that no one knows yet. This is Fandom breaking news, which is the first Milestone animated feature film is now in the works. You know, we just hired an amazing writer, and if you guys have been reading Hardware, you know how dope he is as a writer.
Brandon Thomas
has
been hired to write our screenplay for our animated feature, and in conjunction with Warner Brothers. And we're very excited about that. That's going to be a massive project.
Massive.
With more than one character.
That was almost 3 years ago, and there has not been a single update on this movie since. I'm not even kidding. This is honestly one of the rare occasions where I've seen an announcement of a DC animated project, and to my knowledge with no progress being made. It might be unfair to make assumptions, but if there was any progress made on this movie, it probably would have came out at least a couple years ago. Man, thinking back on it, that whole DC fandom event was just a bunch of empty promises.
Now what you're gonna see here is why the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Milestone Comics was created by Dwayne McDuffie, Dennis Cowan, and Michael Davis in the 90s to combat racial stereotypes and a lack of diversity seen in comics. This new initiative spawned the creation of characters like Static, Hardware, Icon, Rocket. They eventually approached and reached a deal with DC Comics where they would publish and distribute Milestone books, but the creatives at Milestone still had full creative control of their stories. Unfortunately, Milestone Media was shut down in the late 90s due to struggling to maintain strong sales numbers, along with some pushback from retailers on the more mature stories that were told in Milestone Comics, and the comic industry as a whole during that time period had a major downturn, but some of those characters were able to live on in a couple adaptations, more notably the Static Shock cartoon in the early 2000s.
Yo, yo, yo! Ah!
In 2008, it was announced that the Milestone universe and its characters would merge into the main DC Comics continuity, so you'd see Static be a member of the Teen Titans for a little bit. He also got a short-lived solo series during the launch of the New 52 in 2011. In 2020, DC announced the return of Milestone Media with a renewed partnership aiming at bringing Milestone's iconic characters back to the forefront. So you have new modern comic titles on Static, Icon and Rocket, Hardware. Characters like Icon and Rocket were seen in Young Justice. You'd never really see Icon too much, but there was a little bit of screen time given to Rocket here and there.
I nominate Icon for league membership. Because you suspect Icon might be Kryptonian like you did with Captain Marvel?
Icon interests me also. As does his protege, Rocket.
You know, I was the one who convinced the Icon to become a hero in the first place. I should be outside celebrating with him, not hidden away in here.
Static was another character who appeared in Young Justice, first appearing in season 2. You'd think he'd have more of a role or a purpose, or else why even bring him into the show at all, but nope. You don't see him become a team player until like the second half of season 3, where he's just delegated to being the guy on the team who can't get a girlfriend.
I gotta get a girlfriend.
We got you good.
Gotta get a girlfriend.
Are you? Come on!
I've gotta get a girlfriend.
Those hero boys are pretty cool, man. And not just cool, hot.
Yeah, I have a friend of theirs.
Sure you are. You gotta get a girlfriend.
Look how they massacred my boy.
A lot more screen time was given to Black Lightning in Young Justice Outsiders, where you see some of his guilt as a hero in the beginning. And there was a lot of potential to see cool elements with this character, but I feel like there was just way too much time spent on his relationship with that one doctor before she ends up betraying him and the rest of the team. Then at the end, he becomes a leader-like figure of the Justice League. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem, but the show was called Young Justice. I thought this was supposed to give emphasis on the younger generation of heroes and fleshing out their characters, or at least the heroes who were the forefront in season 1. It would have been nice to see Black Lightning take on a mentorship role with Static, which was slightly teased in season 2.
I'm not surprised. You show real potential for this gig. You ever need a mentor, Virgil? You just let me know.
Now, Carey Payton is a phenomenal voice actor. Not only is he the voice of Cyborg in the Teen Titans cartoon, but also the voice of Aqualad and like nearly every other black character in the show. There's also the Black Lightning TV series on the CW, but there's your first problem right there. It's on the CW. I like the idea of the show putting emphasis on Jefferson and his family, with both his daughters gaining abilities and whatnot. On the flip side, it came to the point where a lot of the major focus wouldn't be on Jefferson Pierce himself. My god, his wife or former wife Lynn would get on my last nerve, so would his daughter Jennifer. But I will say the villain Tobias Whale's Uncle Ruckus type energy anytime he was on screen was genuinely the funniest thing ever.
No, I think I'll stand. Sit your weak monkey ass down. All the people are free to learn that the Pierce family is the chocolate-covered Incredibles. And I have to wonder why I haven't seen your blistering black ass playing dress-up lately. You big-lipped, bug-eyed, nappy-headed Nimrod. That black son of a bitch keeps rising from the dead.
How is it you never seem to age?
I keep saying black folks gotta get off of that fried chicken and watermelon Kool-Aid diet. Plus, I do my best to stay out of the sun.
The character was known to be a prominent team player in Batman's team of outsiders in the comics a few times, gaining a lot of respect from Batman himself as he strives to be a symbol of hope, demonstrating effective leadership qualities and a collaborative approach to teamwork in the field. He has a lot of potential with his abilities, often holding back when attacking enemies, with his raw power also being something deemed noteworthy and pointed out by Batman, since he has a lot of respect for Jefferson, despite the fact that Jefferson often disagrees with Batman's methods from time to time. If I'm gonna keep it a buck, when it comes to the core roster of the Justice League, I never cared too much about Cyborg being a part of the main cast or a founding member. He's always been to me much better handled with the Teen Titans or Titans cast, as the dynamics and bonds there feel a lot more personal. I don't think it was a good idea to replace Martian Manhunter with Cyborg as one of the 7 founding members of the Justice League in the New 52. You could say, well, it's because the Justice League lacked black characters, so it was only fitting to put him on the team. So you mean to tell me there were no other alternatives or characters that would have been better picks, considering the other potential options have been a part of some variation of the Justice League? Vixen, Mr. Terrific, and Black Lightning were right there, dog. And I don't know who was cooking with his design in the Justice League movie, an actual abomination.
Ah! Good God! It's hideous, but beautiful in an ugly way. Problem area is up here. All of this going on up here is what's causing me the most physical discomfort.
As I mentioned earlier, an unfortunate part in the implementation of Cyborg's character in the DCEU is the controversy surrounding Ray Fisher and what happened with the Justice League reshoots. The actor basically went on Twitter to explain the on-set treatment from Joss Whedon and the unprofessional behavior that was going on. From the different things we've heard, not just from Ray Fisher, but other sources as well, the Justice League reshoots were just a complete disaster. All the way from Henry Cavill's CGI mustache to actors not wanting to film uncomfortable scenes. Given Whedon's track record, none of this is surprising, and cutting out so many of Cyborg's scenes was a damn shame. Literally an entire character arc taken out of the film, but nah, we gotta have more jokes in there. Bro was the heart of the whole film in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Man, I'd be heated too. One thing I will say though is that I feel it isn't really productive for Ray Fisher to still post tweets to this day talking about some accountability over entertainment years after the Snyder Cut released. It's kind of beating a dead horse at this point, considering all of the WB executives like Walter Hamada, who took part in DC films during that time, aren't even at the company anymore, so I'm not sure who he still wants an apology from. It's become excessive at this point, like let it go brother, it's over. I remember some years back where WB had this weird obsession in trying to greenlight a black Superman movie over a Man of Steel 2 or any continuation of their main Superman Henry Cavill. Ta-Nehisi Coates was set to write the script with J.J. Abrams set to produce the film, and I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely do not see the purpose of this movie. Now on one hand, it might have been cool to see an Elseworlds project on Val Zod, who was the Superman of Earth 2, or Calvin Ellis, who was the President Superman from Another Earth. But the thing is that Michael B. Jordan was set to produce a Val Zod Superman project, but it's different from the Black Superman movie that was supposed to be written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And you guessed it, that movie went completely nowhere.
Why am I not surprised?
But if the intent for the J.J. Abrams movie was to not even put the spotlight on Calvin Ellis or Val Zod and instead just have a black Clark Kent, log off bro, you're done, please step out the office building. To be honest, if they wanted a black Superman type of character so badly to star in a film, you could have just used Icon from Milestone. I mean, he's already similar to Superman, where he's an alien who crash landed onto Earth, and his character was created way before the 2 alternate versions of Superman I just mentioned. There are countless characters that deserve the spotlight in a plethora of DC projects, one of them being Mr. Terrific. Michael Holt is generally one of the top smartest characters in DC. He's often regarded as the 3rd smartest person, but he could arguably be number 1 depending on who you ask.
You're only the 3rd on the smartest person list.
I prefer not to draw too much attention to myself. Who do you think wrote that list?
Very capable hand-to-hand fighter, along with being more of a tech-based hero with his T-spears that can do like almost literally anything. Now imagine my frustration with how he was depicted in the CW Arrowverse when he was a part of the core cast of heroes in Arrow. They made up some original character named Curtis, and he's kind of weird and over the top. He's like one of those geek stereotypes you'd see on TV, awkward and very clumsy at times. The character's comedic timing was off-putting and wasn't that capable of a fighter. I appreciate his costume being straight out of the comics, but that's the only thing they even remotely got right about his character. He was never a unique asset to the team when it came to his expertise in the tech field. His skill set was pretty much like a neutered Felicity Smoke, which is such a disservice to his comic counterpart. I mean, there really is only one way to describe Mr. Terrific's character in the Arrowverse.
Soft. Overrated. Pretty boy. A bitch.
On the bright side, Mr. Terrific is one of the characters set to appear in James Gunn's Superman movie, in which Gunn stated he's one of the characters he's excited for audiences to see on the big screen. The actor for Mr. Terrific, Eddie Gathegi, been putting in that work, so hey, I hope they cook with him in the movie. Vixen is another character I think deserves more love, with a pretty cool and unique skill set where she dons a totem that grants her the abilities of any creature from the animal kingdom. She played a minor role in Justice League Unlimited as a love interest to John Stewart. She was also a part of the Arrowverse as a member of the Legends of Tomorrow cast. She even had her own webtoon animated series that was a tie-in to those CW Arrowverse shows. I haven't really seen her in much since then. Slight cameo roles in the Tomorrowverse animated movies, but nothing substantial. Sadly, anything related to Green Lantern and outside media has gotten the short end of the stick, as the WB executives have had no desire in utilizing the character after the 2011 Ryan Reynolds movie. Jon Stewart had a pretty solid adaptation in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. I mean, you got an entire generation of fans who grew up with him as Green Lantern. There have been opportunities for the character to be explored in Green Lantern projects like the Green Lantern DCEU movie that never happened, or that Green Lantern TV show that was in development by Greg Berlanti set to air on HBO Max that also never ended up happening. I think that show was supposed to center on Guy Gardner and Alan Scott for whatever reason, but luckily that show was scrapped in favor of the Lanterns TV series in James Gunn's DCU, in which Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart will be the center focus Lanterns.
Finally, some good fucking food.
Look, all I'm trying to get at is that these companies rally for what they think people want in terms of diversity, for like brownie points and representation, but when it comes to actual well fleshed out and developed characters to become prominent in these major stories, it's freaking crickets out here. They're more interested in using their most popular characters to be like, hey, we have a black guy on the team, hey, you like Batman, right? Well, here you go. And with that mentality becoming so prominent, it's kind of a disservice to the well established black characters out there who more than deserve their time in the spotlight. With the way WB works and their stupidity on almost every level, I couldn't care less about that Black Superman movie. Give me my Static Shock movie. You could ask almost anyone and I'm pretty sure they would prefer a static film over a Black Superman. You know, I'm just saying, use any of the Milestone characters for crying out loud.